here, control, the Carbo Care, Seltzer water, injected CO2. So we can see control was the least biggest, Carbo Care second, injected third, and the seltzer water was bigger. And why it's bigger is because we were injecting less CO2 there. So let's go in a little bit deeper now. Alright, CO2 experiment. Here's the water parameters for this time. Seems like the safety zorb is done ripping all the KH out of the water. I haven't added the easy current yet, so we are at 0. Looks kind of pink on camera, I'm not really sure why, but it is very white in person. Or pink it is that color. Very that color in person. Alright, so as usual we have our control. This one this time is Carbo Care Bio, which is this product from Dinnerlay. I imported this from France. I could only seem to get the 100 milliliter version. I don't really know why. Maybe it's like illegal or something to bring larger bottles over, but quite a few people say this works. Those are the dosing instructions. I guess we do 4 drops for 2.5 gallons. There's level 2. I don't know. I'll Google Translate this and follow the directions. I'm assuming that's in German. Seltzer water here. I'm using this stuff. Going to be using a new can every day. This was the cheapest I could find. They sold it at Aldi in packs of 12, and I think it was like $3.50 for 12 of them, something like that. You can buy like the bigger bottles, which are a lot, maybe not a lot, but a little bit cheaper, but they go flat after a couple of days. And this, this way we have a can for every day, and I bought 3 packs, so I'll have enough for the whole month. My plan is to just kind of submerge it and open it up under the water and everything. I'm just going to do 1 can a day in the morning, or whenever I put the Carbo Care in. And then we have our regular injected CO2. It's not pumping right now. I'm going to start all this tomorrow, I think. I might get the CO2 going today just so I don't have to deal with that tomorrow. But generally, I'll show it, but it's usually at about maybe 2/3 bubble per second. Yeah, so we got Safety Zorb as the substrate. This one Harbor Freight shop light. I have this light over here, but I have this cardboard blocker guy. I need to put a zip tie on that end so it'll stop flopping over like that. But yeah, I tried to get all the plants in the same general area. Looks like the Mexican oak leaf floated up on that one, and that's going to happen for the first maybe week. Sometimes they'll float up, but I just plane them back down as soon as I notice, whenever I can. So yeah, I'll have to get that one planted after this video. But let's go to this tank because I think it's the clearest. And these will clear up within the day. I just turned on the power heads today, so it kind of ruffled some stuff up, But up front, we have Rotella Blood Red. I believe that's the SG version. Up here, up next, in the middle up front, we have Cardamine. It's that LYAT, Lata, or something like that. And I'll put the words on screen. Up next, we have Pearlweeds, and we have Maca Fluitis, or something like that. In the middle, you can hardly see it, but that's standard baby tears. Then we got Stargrass. We have some Persicana Cowabunga, dude, is what I call it. It's the one with the K that's like super long. Then we have some Mexican oak leaf, and then we have some. I thought that was Myro Romana, but I'm not really sure what it is now. It looks pretty green in this light, but it looks very brown in that light, so I don't. I mean, it's kind of brown. I'm not really sure. I don't remember what it was sold to me as, to be honest. I bought it not too long ago, but a little bit ago. So, okay. So, it's actually 28 days, but if I do it any later, I'll have to wait like a week-ish. So, I'm going to go ahead and finish this experiment off now. And I couldn't keep adding these things because I'm going to be out of town. But anyways, 2 days off from the usual, but that's okay. Here's the stuff. Okay, so the first thing is the cardamom here. I lost some of the pieces whenever well, let me start over. I decided on this run I would kind of clear the algae off of some of the plants whenever it got really bad, and you'll see that in the pictures. And while I was doing that, the baby tears in the middle and this cardamom up front, I lost some of the pieces, so pretend they're not there for those because it's not accurate. But anyways, if you look at everything else except for that rotala, the rotala didn't do very well. But if you look at like the pearlweed and compare, this pearlweed's quite a bit bigger. It's kind of hard to see because this one's taller, but this one is way branchier. The maca is bigger. The stargrass is way bigger. It kind of went front and back, but that's the way I ended up sticking it back in there, but it's a lot bigger. The Myro's significantly bigger. You can see it there. It's kind of covered in algae. And in here, way taller. Same thing with the Mexican oak leaf. Oh, some of the stargrass floated up. So it's even bigger in here. And the Persicana, it didn't really grow much in any of these, really. Kind of grew into the thing in this one. It did grow a bit in the seltzer water, but I mean, comparing the two, it looks like it's a little bit bigger in this one, but it might have also just started a little bit bigger. You know what I mean? So those didn't grow very much, but overall, I do think the Carbo Bio, I think it helped. I think the plants are bigger. I mean, this pearlweed's taller, but this one, you'll see, has a lot more branches. I also broke one of the tall pieces off on this one, and I replanted it right there. So this one was even taller, but anyways. But, yeah, the Rotala's kind of interesting. It's weird that it did worse. It's like the only plant that really did worse, except for the ones I broke. But that's kind of interesting. I think I'd like to see this with CO2, see how it does. And I think I should have enough left over to do that. Here's the seltzer water. One thing that I found interesting is the stargrass. It seems to like inconsistent CO2. Because the Carbo Bio, I'd assume that'd be fairly equivalent to inconsistent CO2, because you'd be adding like, I'm not sure what it is, but it says it like helps the plants absorb CO2 better. So I think it might be like the enzymes that plants use to absorb CO2. I can't think of the name of those right now, but it might be that. It might just be bunk. I don't know. But the plants do seem to be better So I mean, I guess you could argue it, but I mean, they do seem significantly bigger. But yeah, you know, the Stargrass is a lot bigger in this one than that one, and it's even bigger in the Carbo Bio than it is in the injected CO2, which is weird. So I think Stargrass, I don't know how to pronounce the actual scientific name. It's like Heliocentra Zulandria or something, I don't know. First one's an H, second one's a Z. But it seems to like inconsistent levels of CO2. So maybe I'll do some more experimenting with that. I also, it seems I think I usually do like 2/3 of a bubble per second of CO2 in my previous ones, and this time I think I did like a half or so. You can see it is coming out. Maybe it's hard to see on camera because of the algae, but it's coming out of there. But a lot of the plants are smaller in this one compared to this one. So, and all that really means is, except for the Rotala. The Rotala is way bigger in this one, which is kind of interesting. But I think it's just the fact that there was more CO2 in the Seltzer water compared to the injected CO2 is what's going on there. See, the Myra's pretty big. Myra's also pretty big in this one, but I think in this one it's a fair bit bigger, honestly. And it seems like it has all the leaves at the bottom, whereas in this one, it doesn't look like it does. It's hard to see, but we'll look at all this a little closer whenever we get out. Pearlweed's bigger in this one, but yeah, I think this is the only actual one that the non-injected options have actually been better than the control, which is kind of interesting. I think the Carbo Bio, it contributed to a lot of algae, it seems, but yeah, I don't know, but I think it would help with CO2, because the CO2, they basically got no algae this time, both of these. I mean, there's some on the Persicana back there, and there's also a little bit on the Stargrass in this one, but nothing really to worry about. Nothing, you know, nothing like in these two tanks. I guess there's a little on the Macrofluensis in this one. And yeah, and there's a little bit, but nothing like in these two tanks. Yeah, I'm really surprised at how well the Seltzer water seemed to have done. But do I think it's really realistic for you to be adding a can of Seltzer water every time? No. I mean, it's kind of annoying, and that's a big issue with a lot of the CO2 alternatives, I guess. They're very manual. Like you have to do them. Like with the Carbo Bio, you could set that up on an auto doser, no problem. But with the Seltzer water, as soon as you open the can, you know, it starts gassing off. So, you know, it's not like you can get an auto doser going on that, because, you know, the next day it'd be flat. So, yeah, I don't know. But I'd like to see the Carbo Bio in injected and see how it does. It'll be hard to get the exact same bubble rate, but I don't know. But there are more things I want to do before that interest me more. Because and the thing is with it, like if you're going to add this, you know, your first option should be to just turn up your CO2 more. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure how useful it would really be. I guess if you have, you know, fish and they're, you know, right on the cusp of dying, you could add this and maybe it'd help your plants more. But I think I feel like that's not too many people's situation. You know what I mean? So, but I'll probably get to that eventually. But yeah, let's take all these plants out, look at the roots and everything, and let's compare them. All right, so here, Control, the Carbo Care, Seltzer water, Injected CO2. So we can see Control was the least biggest, Carbo Care second, Injected third, and the Seltzer water was bigger. And why it's bigger is because we were injecting less CO2 there. So let's go in a little bit deeper now. Alright, so like I said, the baby tears got messed up in the Carbo Care one, and so did the cardamine, so we're not going to worry about those. But the Rotala, like we said earlier, a bit bigger in the, some of that's algae, but it's a bit bigger in the Control. But pretty much everything else. See, we can look at all the freaking stems on this pearl weed. And it's way bigger. There's a little bit of algae on this. Cut that off. But if we compare it, it's like maybe an inch longer, but there's like 8 stems on this and there's like 2 on this. So way bigger. The Stargrass, again, there's just one strand on here, and the little strand is about the same size, and the bigger strand a bit bigger, so significantly bigger. The for baby tears, again, I got messed up, but even with it messing up, it's about half. This maca here, there's the roots on them. All these have pretty good roots. It's a bit bigger. A bit bigger. Not a lot, but a little. It definitely looks bigger. Like, that to that, I don't know. The Perso Cara, trying to match it stem to stem. It's a bit bigger. You can see, it could have started a bit bigger too. Roots, the Control does have a bit better roots. So that's something. The Mexican oak leaf. Trying to line up bottom of stem, bottom of stem. They're about the same. The Control ones seem to have a bit better roots than the Carbo Care. Control maca versus non-control. It's quite a bit bigger. This is the Carbo Care. And it's also a lot, you see the, well, let's get it bottom to bottom. There we go. You see the leaves start earlier on. You know what, actually they don't. They don't start earlier, it's just bigger. It's interesting. The, you know, we can, let's compare the maca here. I'm just going to compare one on this because we can plainly see these are significantly bigger. But how much bigger? Let's see. stems right here. So we have 1, 2, a little under 3 times the size. The maca here, just for schniggles. Line this up. A little bit bigger. Let's compare. Yeah, this Rotala definitely way bigger on this one. Probably around triple because this stem's about the same size. Hopefully y'all can see that. On the seltzer water, bigger too, almost double. So double compared to triple. The cardamom here, way bigger on the seltzer water. About the same size as the control. We messed up the Carbo, so it doesn't really matter much. Let's do this maca here compared to the Carbo Care. Lined up. A little bit bigger. Not a lot. Compared to the control. Quite a bit bigger. I mean, yeah. And this bigger. It seems like the seltzer water grew more roots. Here's the Mexican oak leaf here for the seltzer water compared to the injected. Damn, it's probably about double the size because this one also has some side shoots, whereas I don't believe this one does. Or yeah, it does. It has a few. So it's quite a bit bigger though, probably 25 to 50%. It's pretty impressive. And what's also weird is the Miro here, it has leaves down lower. The leaves start on this one about right here. On this one it's way up there. So that's kind of weird. It's a little bit longer too. Not a ton. Not a ton. Yeah. Pearlweed. This one branchy and tall. That's a thing. The baby tears. About the same size except for the seltzer water's branchier. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to talk about why I think the seltzer water did so much better than the DIY CO2. And a lot of people say the seltzer water doesn't work, but I don't think they've ever tried it, quite frankly. It seems to work quite well, as we've seen here. The DIY CO2 is very inconsistent. And be that throughout the day, on the day-to-day. Like some days it'll put out a bunch, some days it won't put out any, and then the next day it puts out a bunch, the next day it puts out a little bit. You know, it just depends on what that yeast feels like doing. Whereas the seltzer water, it is consistently inconsistent. You know, it got the bottle of seltzer water every day, the same amount, a little bit different time, but around the same time. Yeah, I didn't get down to the minute or anything, but within, 3 hours, it was the same. Yeah, so the seltzer water is consistently inconsistent, which, the plants could adapt to, and they grew. What causes algae is unhealthy plants, in my opinion, from what I've seen. The unhealthy plants kind of allow the algae to take over, I'm going to say. And, obviously higher light and higher nutrients will cause the algae to grow more, just like they do for a plant. So, yeah, that's why I think the seltzer water did so much better than the DIY. So I think if you were going to go that route, I probably wouldn't do either, to be honest. Like, I started this thing to, well, I started it because I felt there was nothing better than injected, and so far I agree. The things that do work, like the seltzer water and the Carbo Bio work to some extent, but not really enough, in my opinion, to warrant using it over the other thing. But the seltzer water, it definitely worked. It worked good. Way better than the control, which is what we should be comparing it to. But it's just a lot of work. It's also fairly expensive. Like for the 30 days, I think it was like $12 or something like that. Which, throughout the year, after, what would that be, $12 a month, I think my whole system cost me kind of $150 to $200-ish. So what would that be? 12 times 12 is 144. So in a year, maybe a year and a half, you could just get an injected system. So I mean, I would just do that. I'd save your money and just go that route, honestly. I'm not sure how the seltzer water would affect fish. Obviously, that's not what this really is about. You can do your own experiments with that. But I mean, it does work. Would I recommend it? I don't think so. It's just too much work. If there was some way you could automate it, it'd be all right. But there's not really. I mean, there is, but you'd have like half the things for CO2 anyway, which is like half the cost. So it's like, I think I would just go I'd just buy the rest of it if I was going to do that. But I mean, yeah. I think it's an option. Like, I'm not sure where you'd use this. Like, maybe you get some new plants and you want them to grow faster for like a week or something. Could be valid. Could be a good way to do it. I mean, they are significantly bigger than the no CO2. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's where I'd use it. I think that's really the only realistic thing. Like, you could use it all the time, but it'd get more expensive than CO2 rather quickly. And it's just a pain. Like, you have to do it every day. And if you don't do it every day, you're going to get problems like you did with the DIY CO2, I would assume. So, yeah. Yeah. All right. I guess that's all I have to say. I think the next one of these, I think it has to do with air stones, I believe. This is the one I'm going to do next. See if air stones help plants. It might be something else too. I don't remember. But it might be DIY passive. I don't know. We'll see. You'll see in like a month, I guess. Or it might be the next video. Who knows? You'll see it when you see it. So, anyways, I think injected still takes the cake. I mean, it's smaller, sure, but I could just increase it and what's that cost me, like half of a cent a day? Like, you know, I just turn it up and it could be that easily. So let me know, guys, if you think I should clear the algae like I did this time, or if I should leave it like I've done the other times. I think I should clear it because I think it's about the product and how well it grows plants versus, and not about how well algae blocks plants light, causing them not to be able to grow as much. So I think I should clear it off, but let me know your guys' opinions. I think I'll leave it till it gets bad for a while, just so we know if the whey causes some algae, and causes there is in quotation marks. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Are you gonna be doing seltzer water? I know I'm not. So actually, guys, it seems like the safety zorb wasn't done ripping all the KH out of the water. Oddly enough, they're all at basically zero. Yeah, safety zorb doesn't tend to mess with the general hardness much, as you can see. But yeah, I guess it wasn't done. But I mean, the seltzer water didn't add enough for it to stop ripping KH out of the water, I guess. I don't know. One of my friends told me I should, the person I went to the swap to, actually. That video is probably pretty old by now. But he told me I should, go ahead and, test the KH to see if it messed with it, but, well, that's out the window. So, yeah. I guess I should also say having 0 KH helps the control a lot. The ones without injected CO2. 0 KH helps them a lot. Where are those guys? But, yeah, we see the Carbo had the algae come back. That kind of makes me wonder if it was the Carbo really helping it, or if that tank just has more algae for whatever reason, because it didn't come in that one. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna let these guys dry out, and then I'll be on next. I believe that one has to do with air stones. So subscribe and stay tuned.